Welcome back, happy hookers. Crocheting Tea 2022, starting with, you guessed it, a coaster. Well, a half of a coaster. And here it is, the half of the hexagon. Hey! So if you've ever wanted to join your hexagons together, you're going to know that you're going to need some lovely little half hexagons. Ignore the fact that this is a little bit of wobbly. It needs, the best thing to do when you join them together is to edge them, and a couple of rows of edging, and it'll soon sort itself out. So it's a little bit dark. I've had to close the blind because the sun is beaming through, so I'm hoping that it's not too dark for you. I've got some lovely little lights at the side, so I'm so excited to be back. Okay, let me get into position. So for those of you that have mastered the magic circle and fallen in love with it, you've guessed it, we're going to be using the magic circle. However, if you are, and I'll pop a link here, so it's got a little bit more in depth, it goes a little bit slower into the magic circle. So if you do not want a magic circle, chain 3 and join them together. However, I'm going to magic circle, so I wrap it around and I cross it over like this, and I go back like this. Okay, so crisscross on the front, parallel this side. Pick the first one up and pull it through this one. Spin around to create that little crisscross teardrop shape, and then you want to be picking this yarn up here. This yarn up here. This leads to my ball of wool. I pick it up, I crimp it, and then I pull it through. That's why you need that teardrop shape. So can you see? I can now pull it through, and what I have is I have a single crochet on my circle here, and we're going to crochet into this circle and then pull it tight. So the key to a half a hexagon is essentially we're going to only be making, you've guessed it, the 3 triangles. However, a little bit of a difference. Pardon me, a little bit of a cough there. The biggest thing when you're making a half of a coaster is to make sure that this is long enough, that it isn't crushed, because if you just took the stitches as they were in the length that they were, they never quite stretch, and what you end up with is disproportionate size when you marry it up from here to here. And what you want is you want it to be comfortably exactly the right length. So the way that we do that is we do actually add an extra stitch in. So we're going to chain 4. Now I know we normally chain 3, and 3 is a mimic of a double crochet, but for the purpose of this we're going to chain 4. Now we're also going to acknowledge the fact that this classes as a stitch because it gives us a little bit of height already. Oh, my nail got caught then, that's a bit annoying. So we're going to chain, that's 1. Oh my goodness, that's not good if I'm catching the yarn all the time. So we're going to chain 3 more, but technically it is a 4. So 2, 3, 4, and then you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then we're going to double crochet into our circle. Double crochet. Oh, I'm going to catch that. I'm going to have to pause, come back when it's when I've filed it. All done. So let's start that again. I do apologise. First video of 2022 and I've already had to go off camera and file my nail. So we're doing a double crochet, US terms in. So we've got 2, 1, 2. And as you remember here in the centre, the first round is always a cluster of 2. And every row after that extends by 1 either side. So 2, increase by 2 each triangle. So there's our 2. Then we're going to make a corner or a point by chaining 2. And this will feel familiar if you've already crocheted this. Then we're going to place 2 double crochets, which will be the base of our central triangle. And then we're going to make another point, so another corner or a point, whatever you'd like to call it. That's a chain of 2. And then we're going to place 2 double crochets into the center of our magic circle, and then we get that very satisfying bit. Just going to get myself a little bit more yarn. At the minute you'll think, well, how is that going to turn into half a triangle? Half a triangle, half a hexagon. So we take our thread of our magic circle, we're going to hold on to our work, and we're going to gently pull to close our circle. And then what you will see is you've got the start of a triangle to the right, the start of a triangle to the left, and the start of a triangle to the top, which is exactly what we want. And it will start to even itself out. Now the key is making sure that this isn't crushed. It's not pulling and curving in. We need to make sure we've got enough room along to make sure that this stretches out nice and flat and gives us the right amount here. And I have worked this so that by adding an extra chain on the start of every row, it gives you just enough. Now bear in mind, I've worked that out using this 5mm hook and this Sirdar No. 1 chunky. It could change dramatically based on gauge. So I mean, this is quite a short one. If you make it with the 4 chains and you find it's over, revert to 3. If you find it's not enough, up it to 5. And this is where we're going to start to get into this year, is modifying patterns and eventually creating how to create your own patterns. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to chain 4. Now you're probably going to think, oh my goodness, that looks really long, but do not worry. So this is a turned round as well. This wasn't a turned round, we crochet all the way. This is a turned round, so it will look slightly differently in terms of stitches because you will have some of the backs of the stitches. So we flip our work over and then we're going to go back around. So as we have created this chain 4 as an additional stitch, we need to make sure that our first double crochet actually goes in the first of the 2 stitches here. So we yarn over, insert and place a double crochet. And do not be worried that this looks long and loopy. Do not worry, because this is going to be stretched out when we work into it. So now we need to place a double crochet in the next, which is the second of the 2, the base here, the same way we would have when we were working the full hexagon. Okay, and now to increase this part of the triangle, we need to place a double, we need to do a corner or a point, and a corner and a point is always into this massive hole here is 1 double crochet, a chain of 2 and another double crochet straight into here. Let's just take a look at the makeup of that. So now you can see we've taken the 2 and we've turned it into 4. 3 double crochets and this chain of 4, making us a row of 4. So now we're onto the central section where we've got these 2 double crochets. We've already increased by 1 beforehand, so we'll place a double crochet in each of those 2 stitches, and then by completing another corner we'll be increasing this to 4 by placing 1 here. So we've got the corner, 1 double crochet, a chain of 2 and another double crochet right into that gap there. Perfect. Now at the minute it might look like a semicircle. Do not worry, I'm sure when you originally did this one it looked like a semicircle to start with. So we're now on to the final 2. We've already increased by 1 beforehand, so what we'll be doing is we'll be placing 1 more in there, and then we'll be placing 2 into here. Now I don't like to go in between here because I think it creates a gap. I would find a nice comfortable spot. I generally go about here You could go here if you wanted to, but I generally find a nice comfortable spot here, and that is where I place my 2 double crochets. Just don't forget we're increasing, and we're having to squeeze that increase onto the edge, and that's where the complications can arise, because we're trying to squeeze another one into what we wouldn't have been placing it here, if that makes sense. In our full hexagon, we would have been placing it in the gap after, wouldn't we? But for the purpose of this, we have to place the increase into here, which is why that additional 1 chain helps make the room for it. So next round, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to turn. We're going to double crochet into that first stitch, and then double crochet into the remaining 3 stitches of this section. We're going to work a corner or a point, which is going to give us an increase onto this section. Chain 2 and another double crochet into this section. We're then going to double crochet along these 4 here, so 1 in every stitch, a double crochet, and then we're going to complete a corner. So we double crochet, and a bit more yarn, let's get that out of the way, a chain of 2 and a double crochet, and then we're going to work a double crochet into each of these first 3 stitches. And then into this, which would have been a chain of 4 last time, we're going to find the appropriate place, which I like to do, which is 1 down. We're going to place 2 double crochets. Now mine is not completely flat, do not worry. When we block it, we give it a bit of that. It's going to, the stretch factor is what's important. It's not what it looks like that. It's when we stretch it out, which we're going to, because we need to, if you like, take it this way, because this is what's going to give us room to make the points. So can you see, by a little bit of manipulation just with my hands there, I can almost do that, and now I've got very defined sides, and I've got this section. So in order to work out how many rounds you need, you just need to work out how many you went. So we went 2, 4, 6, and with this one 2, 4, 6, 8. So 8 was my last one. So believe it or not, we're done in 1 row. How amazing is that? So chain 4, turn, and place your double crochet into that very first one, which is the base of your chain 4. And then we're going to put a double crochet, and I can hear Moomin chirping behind me, into every one of those stitches all the way until you reach the corner. Moomin, what are you doing? Oh, my cat is now deciding to play with my rug. So corner, point, we know where we're at. A double crochet, a chain of 2, and another double crochet into that point, that hole. Double crochet the next 6 stitches along this side. And the cat has now just walked past and knocked the camera. Moomin, get out of the way, come on. If you see a paw come flying in from the side, we are starting 2022 as we mean to go on. Yeah, I think she's very curious as to whether she can eat some of this yarn. That's it. Okay, so we're carrying on. We're double crocheting. No, you can't sit on... Come on. My subscribers love you, but they do not want you to disrupt this very important pattern. I do apologise. Okay. There we go. We've just completed. And now you're going to purr on camera. We've just completed our side. So we're on to our point. Okay, so that's a double crochet, a chain 2, and a double crochet. Oh, how good is it to have nearly finished it? So we're on to the last stretch. We're going to double crochet in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've obviously got 6 here, but do not worry, we're going to be popping an extra 2 into that one. So double crochet into those stitches all the way along until we get to the end, until we get to that final chain of 4. Just veered off camera then. Okay, we are there. We have got our last chain of 4. We're going to locate our place where I like to obviously pop it about here. Just gives me a little bit of extra room. The cat is slowly destroying my whole studio setup, so I've placed 1 in there and I need to just place 1 more. And this might be a little bit tight sometimes. Even I sometimes chain a little bit too tight and I can't quite get my hook in. Don't worry, just take it steady, and if you need to take your hook out and start again, do not worry. Okay, so there we have our finished half hexagon. So I'm going to take this tail out of the way. I'm going to take this out of the way. No! Right, you're going to have to go before my subscribers all leave me. Let's take our original and we're going to place over our half hexagon. And then we're going to line it up with a cattail in the way. And we go, can you see? It is just the right length to nicely do it. Now there's a couple of extra things you might want to do. I went back and chained single crochet all the way along the edge because I thought, well, when I'm joining them up, I would quite like it if when I'm doing my edging, I've already know exactly where my stitches are in each one, rather than having to, as you can see, work out and crochet into the side of something. Now this has pros and cons. The pros might be that yes, it makes it easier when it comes to edging it, but the cons might be that you have put too many stitches in the side and made it a little bit wide, and therefore when you come to edge your blanket, it's going to be very straight here, and then it might start to buckle on this bit a little bit because you've got too many stitches. So I would generally, if you can, leave it like this. Leave it like this and attach it like this, and then when it comes to it, you can single crochet along, and if you find that it has buckled a bit, you can simply take a few out and skip a couple here, and then it's going to absolutely fix that. So I hope you've enjoyed this very chaotic, unorganised and cat intruded half hexagon coaster. These would make lovely placemats. I had a lady suggest a placemat, so you could potentially use these to join that up. Shopping bags, obviously blankets would be amazing. I mean, you're going to have to make a lot of hexagons, but they are very satisfying, and I think they're sewing up. So let me know if you'd like a video of how to join these together, because there are a couple of different ways. Some involve sewing, some actually involve lines of single crochet going into the front loop or the back loop if you like. So thank you ever so much for joining. If you haven't yet seen my exciting channel news video, which talks about how you can get involved in Crochet and Tea for this year, please do. I'll link it at the end of the video. As always, stay safe and happy hooking. Bye.